Hello, everyone. Welcome back to. I don't know why I do that every time I start the video. Yeah. So, welcome back to the Fourth Down Focus predictions week 2. No Kian this time. We had no James on the last episode. Now we've got no Kian. I'm the only consistent one here, and I'm gonna consistently win these predictions. Although I think I lost last week.
You did, yeah.
Ignore that. That was week 1. No one knows what's going on week 1. But I'm going 16-0 this week.
Apart from me and Keane, we both got 10 plus right.
You and Kian can suck a bag of dicks. That's what I think. So we're back with the predictions video. We're going to have a quick recap of a few games. Obviously, me and Kian did the other video, but we're just going to go over a few games. We're going to go over the Browns game, as I am a sad Browns fan. We'll go over the Giants game, as James is. I don't even know how James feels about. I'd be horrified. Can't even speak. Horrified if I was a Giants fan. And we'll touch on a couple other games as well. So, do you want to go with the Giants game first?
Not really, but I will. Also, I will say that that video you made the other day is the first video on this channel I'm not in, bar the draft one that you did, the second ever video.
Is it?
Yeah, I've not missed one video.
Fair enough, respect.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, I'm just in a. I don't even know what to say about it because my most concerning part is the defense, which on paper looks unbelievable, was terrible. It was rubbish. It doesn't help that our best defender played half the snaps. Abdul Kara, like an 81 PFF rate, only playing 50% of the snaps, which is absolutely ridiculous. But
that was weird.
Why is he only playing half again? Like, he's quite clearly our best defender. So play him. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. As far as the offense goes, I think it's the offensive line genuinely is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. And I don't understand how it's been like. I think someone pulled up a tweet from like them. The like relative had been in a coma for 15 years and just woke up, and so someone replied saying, "Tell her that the Giants' O-line is still shit." Like, it's actually embarrassing. I think we need to, like, in my opinion, it's too much of Daboll and Scowen relying too much on their draft picks because they refuse to admit their busts. Our 2023 draft class is 0 for 7, genuinely. None of them are good. Deontay Banks is the only one who has a chance of getting reps, and he's not exactly brilliant. Schmitz at center is garbage, but because we took him in the second round, they refused to drop him. I'd play him Bow straight away. New kid, 100%. He's really talented, but
non-existent. Purdue, I want to say. Marcus and Bow.
Oh, God, test me on colleges now. Hang on,
I think he was. I know what you mean.
Like, we drafted him, and he, I thought it was an absolute steal in where we got him. But I don't know. It's just, it was Purdue. Yeah. I just don't understand the logic behind playing Schmitz at center anymore. The guy's terrible. Evan Neal was out, and somehow we look worse without him than we do with him. So that's something. But it was a horrendous offensive play. Russ just. I don't blame him entirely because the O-line was so bad. Like, he barely had any time to throw the ball, and he's not exactly a mobile guy who's going to run around the pocket and dodge defenders. He needs time to throw the ball. So, but what I hope we don't do is throw Jackson Dart in, and he's end up getting killed behind our terrible O-line because that would be worse. I'd rather just throw Jameis in just for vibes at this point.
Well, I was going to say, at what point do you think Jackson Dart does get thrown in?
Well, considering that he couldn't say straight after the game on week 1, although he has confirmed now Russ will start week 2, the fact he couldn't say for certain straight after that game is probably an indicator that it's not going to be long if Russ keeps underperforming. But I think it's stupid. I wouldn't play him at all this season. I'd put Jameis in and just let him throw 4 picks and 4 touchdowns because at least when we lose, it'll be funny.
It wasn't that funny for the Browns last season, mate. I promise you that.
Yeah, but it's just vibes because I know we're going to be rubbish. I'd rather just be rubbish with someone like Jameis who's just fun rather than have someone like Russ who's just throwing checkdowns every 3 seconds and we're losing with no touchdowns. Because at least with Jameis, we will throw touchdowns. He will. Because he will just abuse the ball to Malik Neighbours every play, and both of them will get a ridiculous. Let's say with Jerry Jeudy last year, that's why his yardage was so high because Jameis came in and didn't throw the ball to anyone else. So I'd 100% put Jameis in before Dart.
Well, at least the Browns scored a touchdown. We scored 2 touchdowns actually. Browns, obviously, I spoke about it on the last episode, but I'll say it again. Bengals didn't win. We lost. We didn't deserve to lose. I don't think. I think we outplayed them for most of the game, definitely the second half. But Andre Smith missed 4 points. He missed the extra point and the field goal. There was the 2 Flacco interceptions, which I don't think were Flacco's fault. Both of them bounced off of the receiver's hands, and Jerry Jeudy even came out after the game and said he probably should have caught that, and that's on him. If the ball hits his hand, he should be catching it. But yeah, I mean, the rookies, like I said in the last episode, impressed me. We didn't really get much going in the running game. I don't think we got. Samson was the highest rusher with 29 yards from 12 carries, but he also got 64 yards receiving. So I like the look of him. I like the look of Harold Fanning. He got 7 receptions, 63 yards. Tillman had a decent game apart from the drop that led to the interception. Jeudy had a pretty good game too. So there's promising signs. The defense was obviously amazing as well, as always. Myles Garrett owns Joe Burrow. I won't hear any different. So, yeah, I have nothing to say about the Bengals because they didn't play that well. They just managed to – they have a kicker who can kick a three-pointer, and we apparently don't. And we've committed to starting him this week. So I don't know how I feel about that. I know he's a young kid, so you got to give him a chance, but it did he did cost us that game.
I'll tell you what, you will never guess who the Giants' highest rusher was in our game.
Was it Scott? Was it Russ?
It was Russ by 20 yards. Russ had 44 yards. Tracy had 24 of 10 carries. Singletary had 9 yards, and Scat had -3.
I had Tyron Tracy on one of my bets, and I don't know why. You did tell me that was a bold pick, to be fair. I'll give you that.
He's just behind. But then, like I said, it's our O-line. That's why. If we had a good O-line, these players would look so much better. Like, look at the Colts at Daniel Jones. Prime example what a good O-line can make a quarterback look like.
Daniel Jones is winning MVP, James, and you know what that means for you.
Yeah, mate. If he even gets mentioned in the race after week 2, I'm just going to do it then. Because Jesus Christ. I mean, we said we'll pick a game each as well to sort of discuss. We're
not going to do Bills and Ravens because
that's boring.
Everyone's talking about that game. It was insane.
Everyone knows it was good.
So we'll get to the end of the season and we'll still be looking back and saying it was probably the best game of the season. I won't lie. It'll take some topping.
But in the avoidance of being boring, I've gone Vikings-Bears because JJ McCarthy was apparently he was like Shadur Sanders for 3 quarters and then Tom Brady for the 4th quarter.
Oh, so dissing the goat, man. Perfect time.
But I mean, yeah. To be honest, right, I was watching it and I think I fell asleep just after half time, and the Bears are great. Like, I was genuinely in a point where I was like, this offense looks really good. Caleb looks like a whole different animal. You know, he's on his feet as well, first ever rushing touchdown, which I didn't even realize.
I couldn't believe that.
Because the way he was moving in that game, you wouldn't believe that was his first ever rushing touchdown.
I was convinced I've watched him score a rushing touchdown before for the Bears.
But, you know, I thought they were doing really well. I thought this game's over. I even said on our little prediction spreadsheet, I'd gone Vikings and Max and Kian had gone Bears, and I didn't put it as Bears win, just went to bed. And then I wake up to see JJ McCarthy has 3 touchdowns and like 100 yards in the 4th quarter, and the Vikings have won the game by 3 points. I was a bit like, how the hell did that happen? But I was watching the highlights. JJ looked unbelievable in that 4th quarter, like genuinely ridiculous.
I haven't actually watched the highlights, I don't think.
Kian and Max giving it all this about me talking about Kevin O'Connell being the quarterback whisperer.
He left it a bit late, didn't he?
He did, but it doesn't matter. They won the game. In all fairness, I don't think the Bears are bad, but if you're losing games like that, then it could be a long season because that was a game that they pretty much had on lock at halftime and they still didn't win. But Caleb, 58 yards with his feet is impressive.
That was nice. I could not believe that was his first rushing touchdown. I was so to see him score one.
It was just a low yardage game. I'm looking at the receivers. The highest yardage receiver was DJ Moore with 68. Like Jefferson 44, albeit with a touchdown. Aaron Jones had 44 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown, which is really interesting. All it's taught me is if you're ever going to gamble on overs on receptions, put it on Bears and Vikings running backs because DeAndre Swift was getting targeted every play with Caleb, and Jones evidently is quite good receiving as well, which we knew anyway. But
I think I'm going to start taking Dylan Sampson's reception line.
I mean, there were some weird lines. Like rushing, like who was it? I think like Ibuka had like 9 rushing yards.
Did he?
Yeah, apparently.
Probably like a jet sweep, I imagine.
Yeah, but like just weird plays coming out of some of these teams' playbooks in week one. But yeah, I thought it was a really interesting game. It was sort of like the Bills with the fourth quarter comeback. Probably not. I don't know. It was similarly sort of dramatic kind of scale of the time and the comeback that they did it in, albeit not a 40-point shootout. It was a 27-24 win. But for me, it was probably the next most interesting game that isn't the Bills-Ravens.
Well, I think it was this one. I think, painfully, I don't want to have to admit this, I think the Steelers and Jets game was a sensational watch. Aaron Rodgers dipped into the fountain of youth, clearly. He threw for 244 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. But also Justin Fields also looked really good. And I think he's proven that he still can be a QB1 in this league. Obviously, he's not in the elite conversation. He's like maybe somewhere at the bottom of the top 15 type conversation, but I think he's definitely a QB1 who will get you a couple wins. And he can use his feet. Obviously, he got 48 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. And then also a big game from Breece Hall. A lot of people were down on him after last season. He had a big game. Garrett Wilson, 95 receiving yards and a touchdown. It was a wild game. But like I said, Aaron Rodgers turned back the clock. I don't know what peds he was on, but that man was insane. And it's quite annoying that I think the Steelers might be good this season.
I was surprised by Breece Hall, especially with the committee sort of comments from throughout preseason. It looked like Braylon Allen would get a lot more touches than he did, but Breece Hall 19 carries for 107 yards, whereas you got Braylon Allen with 6 carries for 9 yards, albeit he did get the rushing touchdown. Which I'm assuming if you were betting on Breece Hall, you'd be absolutely seething by.
I had a Justin Fields rushing touchdown myself, and he got 2.
2 rushing touchdowns for Fields. I did say, I think, in one of the preseason videos that I think people are going to be surprised by how good Justin Fields might be in this Jets offense. And it looks like I'm going to be proven right because he's really good. What I didn't expect was Aaron Rodgers to be this good with 4 touchdowns in his first game. Again, it sounds silly because obviously he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of this sort of a era of football. So it sounds silly to say that you didn't think he'd be great. But obviously after the last 2 seasons at the Jets, one being injury just the whole season, the other one not being very impressive, you'd sort of think like, and going to a Steelers team which probably had worse receiving weapons, I think it's fair to say, than that Jets offense did for him last year with Devontae and Garrett Wilson to Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf. But both Austin and Metcalf going for over 70 yards apiece on only 4 receptions each. It's not exactly a bad thing to have. I mean, we knew DK was a deep threat, 83 yards of 4 receptions, but Calvin Austin 70 off 4 with a touchdown is impressive. Johnny Smith for the touchdown as well. We know Rodgers likes his tight ends.
I like Calvin Austin, and it annoys me because he wears that black and yellow shite. But I do like Calvin Austin. Every time I watch him, he looks like just a fun little exciting receiver.
It was just a good game, I think, and it was minimum just a good game and very fun to watch with a good shootout. So yeah, but there was plenty of good games, as we said, but they were the 2 that we sort of picked that weren't the Bills-Ravens, because we could just sit here and talk about Bills-Ravens for probably the whole episode and it wouldn't get boring. But yeah. So we'll move on to our actual predictions for next week. So as I said, Kian's predictions are in here, but he can't justify them, which some of them he probably needs to because
he usually can't justify them even when he is on here.
Yeah,
he just picks them and just says, "Listen, right."
I will also preface, this might be a bit more boring than week 1 because we now know what teams are like, and a lot of these games are fairly straightforward predictions on paper.
On paper, but we're
going
to have stinkers all over, Gav.
Probably. First one, Green Bay versus Washington, and we've gone for a sweep of the Packers after week 1. I think I was proven not wrong, but surprised a bit because I did have the Lions to beat the Packers, but Packers came out and were absolutely brilliant, completely shut down that Lions offense, but they look really, really good. Defense is quite scary as well. Like, as we expect, with Micah Parsons joining that unit, it was going to be impressive. The offense was also better than I expected it to be because I really thought it was still lacking a very elite receiver for it to be a competitive team for Super Bowl conversations. But I think definitely low-end playoff, sort of like later stage of the playoff conversations, they're in there already after that week 1 performance. But for me, I wasn't too impressed by the Commanders playing us probably the worst we're going to be all year, and they only put 21 points up, which isn't great. Krusky Merritt was really good for them. I think that was the big highlight. I think Daniels, he was good, but I think it wasn't his best showing. I think overall it was just a bad game, but I can't see them, if they play like they did against us, having a chance in this one against the Packers.
I have a point to make about what you constantly say about the Packers and their receiving room, about them not having an elite receiver. Now, one, I think Matthew Golden might emerge to be that eventually. He's not that now. But two, when you look at, now this is going to sound silly, I'm not comparing Jordan Love to Josh Allen. But if you look at a team like the Bills, they don't have an elite receiver either. I wouldn't call any of them receivers elite, although I do love Khalil Shakir. I've made that a well-known fact.
No, but they do have Josh Allen.
But they have Josh Allen. But yeah, but Jordan Love is still a very good quarterback. You slag him off on here all the time.
I didn't slag him off. I just don't think he's just good enough to lead a team like this to the Super Bowl.
Well, I think this is the year that he steps up. I haven't got them going to the Super Bowl, but I think they could probably get to the NFC Championship and lose out to like the Eagles, who will just run the ball down their throat for 60 minutes, and everyone will be like, "Oh, this is fun." Yeah, I'm starting to go against the Eagles a bit. You might start liking me a bit more, James. But I want them to throw the ball.
Yeah, so did everyone gambling responsibly on that game with AJ Brown.
Devontae Smith in fantasy, can they throw the ball, please? I've taken him out this week because I just thought I put in Krosky Merritt in the flex because I did like him. I did like him last week, and I think he'll get more carries now. He was listed as RB3, and he came in and made the biggest rush of the entire game. So I don't hate the Commanders. I've said it many times, they're the oldest team. They've kind of got a team that's just like patched together of veterans, but it held up against the Giants, who don't have the best offense. But they've got some pieces there. They've got Neighbors. They shut Neighbors out of the game completely. So I think they're not the perfect team, but they're definitely good enough to make the play. Did I have the Commanders going to the play? I can't remember, but I think they'll probably sneak in.
Probably.
I think they'll sneak in. But yeah, I've got the Packers. I really like the Packers.
As you said, Kim, again, for a reason similar to Max, has also gone with the Packers for that one. Moving on, and I'm going bold. I'm going different. I'm going edgy. Brock Purdy's injured for 2 to 5 weeks. George Kittle's on IR for 4 weeks. That means Mac Jones is starting an NFL game in 2025. He also has his best options are Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, which isn't exactly filling me with a lot of hope for this game. And the Saints didn't look that bad. Spencer Rattler wasn't as bad as I anticipated him to be, not in week 1 anyway. So I'm going with the Saints. Again, someone had to make a bold prediction, otherwise this video would literally be us agreeing on basically every game. So that is part of this prediction. But I also do see this happening because Mac Jones coming in to an offense which isn't exactly that exciting. Again, he'll probably just hand it off to Christian McCaffrey every play. But I think the Saints looked all right. They've got Alvin Kamara to do the same thing. Rattler was quite good through the air, better than I expected him to be in his first game. So I'm going with the Saints.
Can I just remind you that the Saints are playing the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are.
Murray's a better quarterback than Mac Jones, and their receiving options are arguably better than what Mac Jones will be throwing to this week.
I still think that the 49ers just have much more quality on the. Are we forgetting that defense exists in football?
It does,
and that is much better.
Again, someone had to be different, otherwise this video would be just an hour of just us driveling on about the same prediction every time.
I think this is going to be a very run-heavy game because McCaffrey and Kamara are carrying these two teams at the minute, especially now.
The Saints' defense is awful. I mean, they limited the Cardinals. Again, it's not the most amazing offense, but it's not a terrible offense.
I just don't see. I understand that you're trying to be different, but I feel like you could have just picked a different game to go different on because this one, I don't see a way the Saints win it.
I'd like to clarify, Keane also said he was tempted to put the Saints.
I also don't think that Spencer Rattler is much better than Mac Jones. I think they're similar level, I can't lie.
They are, but that's why I think the Saints have a chance because there isn't. It'll be probably the only game this season where Spencer Rattler isn't like the outright worst quarterback on the field.
I just can't see it. They've got you slagging off Pearsall and Jennings. They're two pretty capable receivers.
They're good, but Mac Jones has to throw the ball well for that to be a.
What was the tight end called who scored the game winner last week? Jake Tongs or something? Tonges?
Yeah, something like that.
He's like their third string tight end, and you come up and scored was a great catch as well. So they got him. Maybe he's a star. I don't fuck it. He was an undrafted free agent to the Bears like 3 years ago, and now he's ended up in the 49ers offense, and he's getting minutes. I don't know how. But yeah, I don't see a way the Saints are winning this unless Alvin Kamara has a career day.
Yeah, some had to be different. But Kean was tempted, but he stuck with 49ers probably more sensibly than me because
The Saints also don't have good receivers, by the way. They've got Chris Olave, but I'm convinced that man is just determined to injure himself every week.
He was in the 10 about 4 times, wasn't he?
He always is. He lives in that, and I like Chris Olave. He's an Ohio State guy, but he just seems to want to be injured every week. And outside of that, they've got Rashid Shaheed. That's about it. They've got Joanne Johnson at tight end. He's not terrible.
So it's just average, isn't it? But I can see a world where this happens. It probably won't, but again, content in mind, someone had to be different. Yeah.
That's right.
It was so easy. I didn't even question it after week 1. As much as, again, like, if we perform to the level that we could and probably should, this game might be closer than it looks, but we won't, so it's not going to be. Like, the O-line is just terrible. It's so bad. And as much as I don't think the Cowboys were amazing, they were much, much better than us. So they will beat us in this game. Dak was much better. CD still loves dropping the ball, but he caught it enough to get him to at least a decent point in the game. They're going to have a field day. And that's how defense shows up, which, again, there is talent there. It can. But with our coaching, it probably won't. Because, again, if you're putting our best defender in on 50% of the snaps, we might as well just call it off and go home and just not even bother playing this game. Because it's stupid. I don't understand it. But let Abdul Carr just bully Dak Prescott and maybe we have a chance. But he won't. So we've lost this game 100%. I don't see a world where I've looked at our schedule. I think it's going to take to like week 7 for us to win. Whenever we play the Saints.
I don't think Abdul Carr is going to get a chance to bully Dak because I think the Cowboys' offensive line is one of the better ones in the league. It's pretty good. I think Dak's going to have a good season. I'm not going to lie. I think the Cowboys are probably going to have quite a good season. I think I had the Commanders finishing higher than them in the preseason predictions video. I would like to reverse that now. I'm not going to lie. I'd have the Cowboys in the second spot of the NFC East, but I can't do that now.
They'll lose.
Yeah, I think George Pickens might drop like 100 receiving yards on your heads and like 2 touchdowns.
The thing is, our secondary, again, it's not even bad. I don't understand how it played so badly. Like, you got Javon Holland, you got Paulson Adebo. These aren't bad players. I don't understand.
It's really funny how all the Giants fans fell for the preseason hype once again.
It wasn't even that. I was just on paper basing it off the talent, what looked like on the field.
Yeah, but I do that with the Browns, James, but it doesn't make a difference because we're the Cleveland Browns. We lose games in historical fashion.
I've seen this team win 2 Super Bowls.
What's a Super Bowl?
We always did it with a good defense. Our offense was never the focal point of it.
Well, your defense just clearly ain't that good.
I said there's a fun fact as well. The last time we beat the Cowboys in Dallas, I think it was Eli Manning throwing touchdowns to Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz. So, yeah.
Give me the Cowboys all day of the week. I have nothing else to say about this game. Give me the Cowboys all day of the week.
It's been a fact. Considering we do actually... It's not like one of them games we don't play every season. We played these lot away every season, and we haven't won since Eli Manning.
I do have one more thing to say. CeeDee Lamb better have a career day because I've got him as wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Move on.
Also, I would just like to point out, have you seen our schedule? We have this game to go in to then play the Chiefs.
Hey, you might beat them. That's shit.
What, you think we're going to go... Oh, it's at MetLife, actually. I thought it was at Arrowhead. Then we have the Chargers, the Saints, fine. Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. What?
At least you'll probably beat the Saints, buddy. Although I don't know, you're a big fan of Spencer Rattler apparently now. So,
but then to then play the 49ers, which could be whatever.
I feel like they'll have everyone back by then, though, unless they've got more injuries.
49ers. Then we have Bears, Packers, and Lions back to back. They're all losses. Patriots, winnable. Commanders, no. Vikings, Raiders, Cowboys again.
You might get 3 wins this year.
My prediction was 3, I think, and that's probably generous. I'm going to move on before I get depression. Jets versus the Bills, and yeah, this one doesn't take a genius to work out.
I was very close to putting in an edgy prediction and bagging Justin Fields and the boys here, but I couldn't do it.
I really like Justin Fields, and I didn't even think about it.
You can't back against Buffalo. You saw what they did against the Ravens. Everyone their own fans were leaving the stadium. They were halfway down the street when the comeback happened, and if you're 15 points down and 4 minutes to go, was it something ridiculous like that? Maybe a little something. I don't know.
There was 7:30 left on the clock when they had a 15-point deficit, or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then they came back 41 points to 40. 41-year-old Matt Prater with the winning field goal. Him getting lifted up at the end was a visual. I'll tell you that for free. That was funny.
It's funny how a 41-year-old kick is better than Tyler Bass as well.
He's better than Andres Schmidt too, but don't get me started on him.
Probably better than Graham Garneau as well.
Shouting nasty words. The Bills, you can't back against them. I like Keon Coleman. I like the addition of Joshua Palmer. I like Khalil Shakir. Dalton Kincaid's still a beast. James Cook is still a beast. Josh Allen is still Josh Allen. And defense looks. They were getting more. Me and Kean were watching this game, and we were saying that they were getting a lot more pressure on Lamar than I feel like they were last season. Well, just on any quarterback. I feel like that D line has stepped up quite a bit. Ed Oliver had a big game. They've got Joey Bosa now, who's he's a bit washed, but he's still got a dog in him. He's still an elite edge rusher, I'd say.
Yeah, I like Fields, right? And I think they'll score a decent amount of points in this game, but I just can't back against it. There genuinely might be 0 games I back against the Bills in this entire season, genuinely. I'll be very, very shocked because Josh Allen, much to my absolute happiness because he's in my fantasy team as well, had 42 points, by the way, this week. But nah, he's just a joke, like absolute joke of a player. And with him, they will be successful. And after week 1, I still will back that I think this is a Super Bowl winning team. I said pre-season this would be my Super Bowl winners, and I probably should have bet on it because
I think Buffalo will always be a Super Bowl contender while that white boy is throwing the ball.
This is what I mean. Like the fact they look so good, and as you said, there isn't really an elite receiver in the team, is a joke. Like the guy could throw to. I don't even think you give him like one of the worst receiving moves in the league. This team would still make the playoffs. Like the guy does it on his own.
That team on his back every week, Josh Allen. It's ridiculous. I don't know how he gets it.
Everyone said like Patrick Mahomes in the conversations for like, some of the best QBs of. Josh Allen should be in there in my opinion because again he doesn't win stuff, but that's not down to him. That's down to his team.
The only thing that separates Mahomes and Allen, I think, and Lamar,
is the supporting cast. Because they've won Super Bowls because of the supporting cast being so much better than the Bills and potentially even the Ravens aren't great.
Well, I mean, you see the Kansas City supporting cast now looks a bit weak, and they're probably going to go 0-2 as we'll get on to.
But yeah, no, the Bills are just great, and I can't.
When was the last time that happened, by the way?
You up?
When was the last time the Chiefs went 0-2 to start the season?
Last season.
A while. I'm going to try to find out while you waffle.
But yeah, no, I just love Josh Allen. As I said, Justin Fields is a good quarterback, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year, 100%. But there isn't a world where I'm backing against Buffalo in probably any game this season. I don't know what their schedule's like. I haven't checked, but it would have to take I don't even know because the Ravens might be the only team I'm backing against. So yeah.
Have you got any guesses?
I'm trying to think. When do they draft Mahomes?
I can't remember, but
I'm going to say 2014.
How the fuck did you know that?
Was it?
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
I just went back a couple of years after Mahomes got drafted.
Yeah, 2014 was the last time they went 0-2 to start a season.
Mad.
That's before they had their witchcraft, I imagine.
Yeah, before. I was thinking Alex Smith wasn't bad, so I was just thinking a bit further back. So yeah, damn. We'll move on. Titans versus the Rams, and you're going to notice a pattern with a few of these predictions. It is just a clean sweep for the Rams, and this is a team that I backed that could go all the way to the Super Bowl. And after week 1, it doesn't look like it was unfathomable because, again, the offense wasn't that exciting, but the defense was so good against, made a Texans team, which isn't bad, look really bad. So I think this should be a straightforward win for them, 100%. Like, as I said, the Titans went bad. I think Cam Ward had an okay first game. You can't really complain too much against it. So it wasn't like setting the world alight, but for the Titans, again, you've got to all put it into perspective of it being the Tennessee Titans, and this isn't a team that we sort of see win many games ever. But I mean, how many points did they put up? I've actually forgotten.
Like 12.
But it wasn't, again, you're playing with probably the best defense in the league, so it's forgivable that, keeping that game close, defense was obviously really, really good.
I just think the Titans are garbage, I won't lie. I think they're going to have a pick in the top 3 again in the draft.
You think?
And this might have been the easiest decision I made for the
entire. I just didn't think they were awful against the Broncos team, which is good, albeit offensively not amazing, but still, to get that many takeaways is impressive.
That game came up. The only thing I was interested in was Evan Engram scoring a touchdown from a bet. The game was dull. It was awful. I don't think any of those games in that 9 o'clock slate entertained me at all.
I think the Broncos are going to be the same story all year, just low-scoring games where they'll win.
Broncos are going to grind it out.
Because the defense will just carry them, and then the offense has to do like the bare minimum to win games.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the Rams go, as I said, I really like this Rams team. There's so much potential there. Puka.
By the way, everyone, James dropped Bo Nix from his fantasy team today. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Justin Fields might have to take his place, low-key. Because that's what I replaced him with as well.
I just never thought I'd see the day you'd give up on Bo Nix, man. I know you're a big boy.
I haven't given up on him as a player, but for my fantasy team, Justin Fields looks like guaranteed points, and he threw like 3 interceptions in his first game, so I'm just going to stay away for a bit. He'll sit on waivers anyway. No one's going to fucking take him, so if he ends up being good again, I'll just take him back.
I'm good. I've got Drake May and Lamar Jackson. I'm good.
I've got Josh Allen and Justin Fields. I'm more than happy with that. Not that Josh Allen's ever getting dropped from this fantasy team. But
bye week.
Oh, yeah, true. Which I'm more than happy to have Justin Fields in for a bye. I didn't actually check. I really hope they don't have the same bye week, because otherwise I'm going to have to get some of the quarterbacks. Yeah, but Rams for me 100%. As you said, it seemed fairly easy, this one.
There's not much to say, really. Puka Nacua is still a beast. Matt Stafford can still throw the ball. Devante Adams looks all right. Kyron Williams is solid. Defense looked good as always. It's simple.
Very much so. Next up, and we do have a bit of difference, but he's not even here to fucking explain it. Although you did have the Bears and changed it.
I was going to have the Bears, and then I changed it, as you saw. So I'll try explain Kian's potential point of view, apart from him just going, Bear. He does love the Bears, but I also love the Bears. I think I only changed. The only reason I changed is based off what we saw on Monday and based off what we saw a few times last season, and just in general, the Bears like a crumble, and I don't mean the dessert. They fall apart in them.
Well, they might like the dessert.
What?
Well, they might like the dessert.
Well, I'll have you know that at the Bears camp that me and Kim were at, Caleb Williams asked his advisor, I don't know, the person that was following him around, if he could have a brownie, and they went, so they're not allowed desserts, I'll have you know. These are freak athletes, James. You put me off track now. Oh, Bears, yeah, they fall apart like the Post Malone song. They're just, yeah. I wasn't impressed at all by the Lions against the Packers, although I do think the Packers are a very tough team to beat this season. I still think the Lions, obviously, they got 14 wins last season? 15?
15.
They were the 1 seed in the NFC. They got
Vikings had 14. So yeah.
Yeah. So I was expecting a little ball from them, although I did back the Packers to win that game. I think Ben Johnson not being there is showing up early, but I think they'll probably find a way around it and still grind out some wins. And I think a big divisional win to bounce back from a loss to another divisional opponent will be needed for Dan Campbell and the Lions. And I think they'll pull it off in like the fourth quarter again. The Bears will just fucking flop. I don't know. I hope the Bears win, but I also want to get my prediction right. So I got Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I bet the Lions week 1 and was surprised by how far off I was. Because I did see a world where Packers would win 100%, but I didn't think it would be as comprehensive as it was. Isaac Tesler, though, what a catch that was. as Kian would love to say, so I'll mention it for him.
He said it on the last video. Don't worry.
Oh, he did. Okay, good. I was gonna say I'll mention it for him. I just don't think that if the Bears are throwing away wins like that in games like that, I can't see them winning games like this. As much as I said the Lions weren't great, that team still has so much talent on it. Like, it was just a bad week against a very good team. Like, at the end of the day, so I think when they play a team a bit further down the pecking order, I think it's going to be an 0-2 start for the Bears. I just don't see whether the Lions after going 15 wins last season start with 2 losses. Like, I just don't see it. As I said, but it could be a Ben Johnson, not revenge game, but like a sort of like, here's what you're missing out on game maybe. But I can't see it from Chicago, unfortunately.
I think it'll be close. Give me like, if I was to back a spread on this game, I'd probably go like Bears +4, maybe something like that.
Could see it. We'll move on. Dolphins vs Patriots, and I feel like if this was week 1, we probably would have gone different. But because we watched week 1 and saw how terrible that Dolphins team was, it's a comprehensive Patriots all around it. Even though the Patriots were rubbish as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say both these teams are shit. I need to give a shout out to my good friend Finn, who I know watches this. He is a Finn, and he is a Dolphins fan. You know, that's funny. He did say to me before we recorded this episode, I bet you've all picked the Patriots, haven't you? Yeah, obviously. I think the Dolphins were tragic, as I said on the last episode with Kian, against the Colts. They made Daniel Jones look like an MVP caliber quarterback, and I don't know. I didn't think that was possible.
He shouldn't be.
It was, and I don't. Apparently, Tyreek's been arrested again or something, or he's been investigated for something. Kian sent me that last night. I don't know. I didn't read into it. I think they should probably just move on from Tyreek. And I feel like there's got to be at some point questions on moving on from Tua, which might be a tough decision, but I don't know if he's going to take them anywhere.
I mean, if they're going to lose as many games as if they play like that every week, they might go 0-17 and they'll have a good draft pick next year to take like a Drew Haller at this rate, because, oh my God, it was terrible. I mean, I was literally just watching the game and I was like, this is Daniel Jones, yes. Like, I actually had to question or like look about 4 times to make sure it was actually who it actually was saying it was doing everything. A history-breaking game, but we'll get onto that in a minute. But the fact you're letting Daniel Jones do something no quarterback has ever done in the NFL just is depressing. Like, it is so bad. So, as I said, I think the Dolphins, they can't be any worse, really. I don't think, not to be Mick McCarthy here, but I don't think it can get any worse. But as I said, I wasn't impressed by the Patriots at all. So it feels like weird to have such a comprehensive pick. But the defense on the Dolphins side of the ball was terrible. The offense was dead. No points to the 4th quarter. Their whole offense is just going to be leaning on A-Chain, I think, which is handy for my fantasy team because I just can't see. Tua hasn't been great. Tyreek was useless. Waddle was non-existent. So I think
Waddle's in my fantasy, but luckily he's on the bench, so I didn't feel the.
I won my week because Tyreek had 5 points in Harry's team on our fantasy league. 5 points from Tyreek Hill. I do see a world where he ends up back at Kansas City with their current situation as well. I think
they want a veteran wide receiver. Why not?
It seems inevitable, yeah. I mean, if you give him to Mahomes, he's probably going to look like prime Tyreek again. But yeah, I just don't see it for the Dolphins. I think the Patriots, they weren't good, but I think they looked better than the Dolphins did, especially against the Colts. Against the Colts offense, which is just from the second layer of hell for me having to watch that happen in real time. But yeah, I'm going Patriots. I think it's quite easy.
Yeah, as we touched on, they also weren't very good in week 1. They got beat by Kian's Las Vegas Raiders somehow. Geno Smith balled out. Don't know how that happened, but it is what it is. Yeah, I've still got some faith in the Patriots. I've got faith in Travion. I've got faith in Drake May, Hunter Henry, and the young receiving room they've got there, plus Stephon Diggs, who I keep forgetting plays for them now. I think it'll be a narrow one. I think it'll be like the Saints-Cardinals game of last week. That's just like another get this off red zone. I don't want to watch it type game. But yeah, I think give me Patriots by a touchdown, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, do we need to say much more about this?
Boo!
I don't really feel like I need to give a justification as to why I predicted this. Oh, God.
Right. Put in my just getting ready. Go on. Say what you got to say, James.
I've said what I wanted to say, mate. I don't think I need to give a reason as to why this is going to happen, but it just is.
Why not? Let me set the scene. This game is an anniversary game for the Colt. I called them the Colts because that's what they used to be called before they stole our franchise. This is the anniversary game for when the Baltimore Ravens, well, the Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens, and we weren't a franchise for a couple of years. I don't think there's anything funnier in the world that could possibly happen than us beating them in that game. However, I've backed the Ravens.
I was going to say, all this justification, and we start looking at you predicting the Ravens. Yeah, it's Lamar Jackson. It's the Ravens offense who put 40 points up against the Bills. As much as they choke games, it would require a good offense against them to choke this one away, which isn't a thing. So
my only prediction for this game is that Jerry Jeudy is going to have a good game because he said like a really cold line. He was like, "What are your thoughts on like the what are your worries about the Ravens secondary?" And you're like, "There are no worries." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cold. He's going to go for 100 yards."
But there should be, because Jesus Christ, that is not a secondary. There's a receiver that I would want to play against. Put it that way.
No, I mean, I've got the Baltimore defense in fantasy, so it might be a good week for me. And I've got Lamar.
So, Browns offense. So yeah. So I don't think there's much more to say really. I think it's just a very good team against a not so great team, and a very good team should win.
Look, I backed us last week, and I actually thought we could win that game, and we were very close. I have no faith. So if we win, I'll be baffled. I will go to Baltimore myself, and I will kiss Joe Flacco on the mouth if he goes in there against his former team on the anniversary game and beats them.
Moving on. Bengals, Jags, and you know what? You know what, right? There was part of me that was tempted.
Me too.
For a minute on Jacksonville because of how bad the Bengals were week one. But they notoriously, as you said in the first podcast, they do start badly and they still won even when they were bad.
They didn't win. They didn't win. The Browns lost. Don't say that.
The Bengals are 1-0 then. Is that better?
The Bengals are allegedly 1-0. I don't even think they should get it.
They probably don't deserve it in all fairness for how bad they were, but
they should get half a win.
Yeah, I was tempted by the Jags because that offense is really good, as we expected from Liam Cohen to sort of go in there and make that defense. I mean, Travis Etienne went for 143 rushing yards. I think that alone is ridiculous.
Who were they playing?
Well, that's irrelevant.
No, it's not. They were playing the Panthers. So I don't think we can gas up the Jags too much. The Jags are still the Jags.
No, and they're not going to win this game, I don't think. But there was part of me that was tempted because they were good. I said Liam Cohen will make an offense better. He did at Tampa, and he has looked to have done it already here, based on them actually winning the first game, which none of us predicted. No one would have predicted Travis Etienne going for 143 rushing yards. I think that's fair to say.
On the other Travis, what were your thoughts on Travis Hunter's first game?
Okay, about what I expected. He wasn't amazing, but he wasn't terrible. I mean, what was his receiving?
I saw someone on Twitter this morning compare him to Wan'Dale Robinson. So,
yeah, I mean, like, he had 6 receptions for 33 yards. He just seems like, as you said, I can sort of see that comparison. Just the guy who just catches a lot but doesn't do a lot with the
It felt like they were just forcing the ball to him, but he wasn't making any big plays. Which, I mean, fair enough. It's your first game, you're a rookie, but I don't know. I feel like Brian Thomas was right there. He could have got a few more targets and maybe made some bigger plays on him.
Also, only one
win.
Albeit he didn't play much on the defense side of the ball. 1 tackle in the whole game on the defense.
Apparently, he's going to play more snaps on defense this week, I read.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's sort of just your security blanket receiver and then maybe a bit more exciting. I mean, I said that he'd be better off as a corner the whole time.
He's playing more receiver.
But he's playing more receiver, which I don't think is his best position, in all honesty.
But I guess the receiving room in Jacksonville's not very good. They lost Christian Kirk. He's a Texan now. It's pretty much just Thomas and Travis Hunter. I don't even know who their third receiver is, actually, off the top of my head.
No idea. But yeah, I just think Bengals should win this game. These are the games they have to win if they want to be a team that goes back to the playoffs this year, and I think they will get better as time goes. I hope they do, because in my other fantasy league, I've got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, and safe to say that went terribly in week 1. So, I mean, they literally cannot be any worse than that. So
It did go terribly, James, because as I mentioned in the last episode, in the 4th Down Focus Fantasy League, I had the best week and you had the worst week.
yeah, but that's in the one that has no money involved, so I don't care. I gave up on that.
And I still won. Maybe I should stop caring about the money league and I might win that one.
Well, I won my first game, so I don't care.
I lost mine by about 4 points and it really annoyed me.
I won by about 40 points.
Fair enough. Move on. I'm sick of talking about the Tiger weirdos.
Next up, this was another one where Max has sort of looked at this from a content perspective, maybe more than what, and his hatred of the Steelers perspective more than what he actually thinks will happen.
There was no way I was going through this video and backing every other team in the AFC North, and especially cunts. Fuck Aaron Rodgers, the geriatric old freak, Sam Darnold ball, Jackson Smith and Jigba ball, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet.
It's not Kenneth Walker ball, mate. Believe me, my fantasy team suffered enough with that prick.
He's a weird one, Kenneth Walker, because he can have like an insane game and then he can have like a quiet week. So
I don't understand why Zach Charbonnet was RB1.
He gets a lot of carries, to be fair. He always has one.
Everyone predicted like the Jets to have the committee running back and the Seahawks would just have a slam dunk on Kenneth Walker, and it was the complete opposite.
Yeah. My only I'll have to say is for Pittsburgh, and I hope the Seahawks win. Like I think I had the Steelers originally, and then I changed it because I refused to back them. I genuinely might not back them all season. Fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, I backed them week 1, and I was the only one to do so, and it was right. So I'm
going to. It was close, though. It was close. You asked in the video. You were like, "Do you two really believe the Jets are going to beat the Steelers?" I was like, "Yeah," and they came within 2 points.
In fairness, as I said, it was a weird one because I do really like Justin Fields, but I just didn't. After the Jets just being the Jets, it seemed hard to believe, but they did look good. So yeah, it was closer than I thought. But I'm sticking with the Steelers purely because the Seahawks were a bit shit in week 1 against a not very amazing Niners team that lost.
They nearly beat the Niners.
Yeah, but the team was Purdy was playing with a shoulder injury for most of the game, and Kittle was out for most of the game. So they should have probably won that game. So yeah, I'm sticking with the Steelers.
I'm just banking on Cooper Kupp and JSN being good, I guess, and Sam Darnold not being Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
I need Vikings Sam Darnold back for a week.
Next up, again, another one that you sort of went from a content perspective, because I think anyone with common sense probably wouldn't have picked the Panthers here. But
well, I backed them last week. We all backed them last week. We all backed them. However, we've got the battle of the midgets here. Bryce Young and Kyler Murray. I feel like we're watching the same team play each other. Like, it could go either way. And you say it's for a content perspective, but like the favourites aren't always going to win. You've got to take a few shots here and there. That's how you win this prediction malarkey.
Yeah, because you would know about that.
Shut the fuck up. I preferred it when you weren't on the episode, James. Shut up. Bryce Young is going to stop watching the mini games on screen instead of being in the huddle, and he's going to lock the fuck in. Tet's going to go for 200 receiving yards, and the Panthers are going to win.
So when that doesn't happen, the Cards, just as I said, I wasn't particularly impressed at all with the Cards. They struggled against a pretty rubbish Saints team, but the Panthers were arguably even worse against a probably worse Jags team. So
I'm not having it. The Jags are a better team than the Saints.
No, they are, but it was just so bad from the Panthers. I said I really like Tet. I think he'll be really good in the long run. I just think they need to give up on Bryce Young at some point, because it's like what we did with some of our players. They're clinging on to him because of where they drafted him. They don't want to give up on a first overall pick so quickly, but he has to go down as a draft bust. I think if this season is bad, because as a first overall pick, you should be unbelievable. And as far as first overall quarterbacks, when's the last time we had a massive hit? Because Caleb, I think it has to be Burrow. About 5 years. It's been 5 years since we've seen him.
He's a fraud as well, though. He's shit. He couldn't even throw for 200 yards against the fucking Browns.
I think it's been 5 years since we had a first overall be like a MVP caliber or like just even like an elite tier quarterback.
Caleb still has time to be that. So
Yeah, I'm not going to move Caleb already. And the same way like Cam Ward, who's played one game in the NFL, but it's interesting.
I think Caleb definitely has a higher ceiling than Cam Ward. I don't know if Cam Ward's ever going to be. I don't know if anyone thinks that. I don't think he will be.
I don't know. He was really, really good for Miami, and there's so many flashes of unbelievable talent, but there's also a lot of flashes of bad things. So I don't know where he lies.
I don't think he's consistent enough.
No, that's my thing, yeah. But as far as the cards go, yeah, I think this will be a fairly close game. I don't think, as I said, these teams aren't great, so I think it'll be close just on the fact that neither of them are going to score many points. But I think Marv looked a lot better than he did back in the last season in this first game. And yeah, I'm going to go with the cards. Next up, and yeah, this is what I was on about. Kian decided this was a good idea. He's not
Kian's bought into the hype. That's what's happened here.
Kian's bought into the hype of Daniel Jones, so this is obviously going to be wrong. I mean, yeah, this was probably one of the easiest predictions.
I'm clipping saying that out when Daniel Jones throws 300 yards.
If he does it against this defense, I'm not watching the sport anymore. I quit the podcast. I'm shutting the whole thing down because I refuse. This was one of my easiest predictions. As much as the Colts were good, as I said, you're playing against one of, if not the worst team in the NFL at current moment in time. Genuine argument with them and the Saints at the minute with how bad they were. And yeah, as I said, you won't get that kind of time on the ball as Daniel Jones against the defense like the Broncos. And when you're throwing it downfield, you ain't going to have the separation from the defensive backs that you would against the Dolphins because, yeah, this Broncos team, the defense is an absolute joke. And I can't see it changing anytime soon. The offense was bad in week one. It was bad. Bo Nix had a bad game, but at the same time, that's his first. I think it's like the first or second time in his career he's had a game that bad. So, I suppose if you're going to do it, get out the way in week one where you still win the game. It could be worse. But yeah, for me, I just don't see a world where Daniel Jones does anything good against a defense this good.
I have also bought into the hype, and I think that Daniel Jones will actually have a good season, but there's just like certain lines I'm not willing to cross. And like you said, the Broncos defense is at least top 3 minimum in this league. Like what you said about the defensive backs as well. You've got Jade Barron, you've got Satan, you've got white cornerback Riley Moss in there as well. The receivers aren't going to get the same kind of separation, I don't think. You've got Nick Benito rushing at you, and I'm a big Nick Benito guy, big fan of him. If Bo Nix can just be a little bit better, this should be a walk in the park for Denver, I imagine. But I doubted the Colts last week, and look where that got me.
Yep, same. But I don't think out of principle I can back the Colts all season genuinely. Just out of my principle hatred for Daniel Jones, I can't do it.
I don't think you hate Daniel Jones. I think that you hate that he's gone and he's not playing like that for you.
Correct, but I think anyone would look that good with that offensive line being as good as it was. He had about 4 hours to throw the ball every single time. If he was making bad throws with like a good 7-8 seconds in the pocket more or less every play, I'd have some serious concerns about how he's even allowed to play in the league because, yeah.
That white boy can run as well. Everyone forgets this about Danny Dimes. That white boy can run.
He can't.
He can. He literally, Jonathan Taylor said in an interview last week that he reaches up to 21 miles an hour running.
It just annoys me just how these players just leave and all of a sudden they're just god tier players.
Saquon, not Danny Dimes.
Yeah, but Saquon was at least good. You knew Saquon would be good. No one thought Daniel Jones would be good. We knew Saquon was an unbelievably talented player. There was no question about that. We knew it was our team limiting him. But Daniel Jones is just a joke.
Pat McAfee said that Danny Dimes was going to be good, but he's one of the most blindly delusional men I've ever met. Not met. I've never met. I wish.
Moving on. Yeah, this is, not really surprising after their week 1 performance, but surprising in the fact it's everyone backing against the Chiefs and to back the Chiefs to go 0-2 for the first time in 11 years.
I don't remember the last time there was no one backing the Chiefs on this podcast.
No, that's what I was saying. It may never have happened, genuinely. Because I think even in the games where they were playing the Bills, I think I still backed them when you two didn't.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I wasn't overly impressed by the Eagles in week 1, all things considered. They weren't bad. They beat a good team, but playing the Chiefs it's a whole different ball game, and I think it really depends on the Chiefs' offense and what they try and do. Because obviously, I think it was a bit unfair for their first impression that they leaned so heavily on Worthy before the game, and obviously had so many plays ready for Worthy for him to get clattered by Travis Kelce on the third play and dislocate his shoulder. Probably through that.
His boyfriend should have knocked him out then, should he?
No, both that game, that probably threw them into the bin really quickly in that game. So I'm not entirely surprised that it went so badly, but I just can't see them with that offense being not very. I don't think Mahomes is good either. I think a lot of the blame went to the receivers, which it should have done for a couple of them, but a lot of them were just overthrown passes every time. So I think the Eagles will win this game. And as much as I don't like either of these teams at all, but as much as I'd rather the Chiefs beat the Eagles, obviously, I don't think it's going to happen.
I think one of the biggest problems that not that many people that I've seen talking about for the Chiefs is their lack of a run game. I'm pretty sure Mahomes was their best rusher last week against the Chargers. Pacheco, I don't think he's 100% fit, but he's still his last few games, if you look at the stats, he's not been putting up the yards that you want your running back one to put up. And Kareem Hunt is not that guy anymore. So I feel like, especially in this game, where the Eagles are going to efficiently run the ball, as they do every week, with Jalen Hurts, they got Tank Bigsby now as well, so I'd like to see how he plays into that. Even Will Shipley was having a few good carries last week, so they got Saquon too, obviously. I don't know if I mentioned it. We know about Saquon. They won't throw the ball, so if you've got any wide receivers in your fantasy or your bets for the Eagles, take them out. There's no point. I've benched Devonta Smith because it's not going to happen.
It's fine because it's only because they got a running back at quarterback. That's why.
James is a big Jalen Hurts hater. I agree that he is a running back, but you can't doubt that he's an elite quarterback because he wins.
He's not. He
wins games. That is the job of the quarterback. He does the same things that Lamar Jackson does, but when Lamar Jackson does it, he's like, oh, fucking hell, he's amazing. He does the same shit.
He's not a top 12 quarterback in the NFL.
Get the fuck out, man. He's just being biased.
He's not. I promise you he's not. You can go through the list, and there is genuinely, even stuff like some of bad week ones, there's still not 10. There's still 10 quarterbacks I'd take before I'd take Jalen Hurts.
I think there's no more than 6 I would take before.
I'm just saying, I'd take Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott.
Yeah, the list stops at Herbert.
No, just Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott. I'm an R over CJ Stroud. Jared Goff.
Well, there's no way. I love CJ Stroud.
Jordan Love. I don't have Jordan Love, and I don't even like Jordan Love. That's about it. So I'd say 12th, 13th.
Just shut up. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of hearing your voice.
Maybe you can have CJ Stroud above. He's still not in the top 10.
Point is, fuck the Chiefs. Go Birds.
And I'll say, well, I'm not going to say,
go on,
Chiefs.
Say go Birds. Say go Birds.
Fuck the Eagles, and I don't like the Chiefs, but I hope you beat them. Moving on. Falcons versus the Vikings, and friends of the channel, the Minnesota Vikings. I've backed them again because everyone called me stupid for backing them last week, and I was right. I'm backing in the reincarnation of Tom Brady, JJ McCarthy, to absolutely wipe the floor with the Atlanta Falcons.
I liked what I saw from the Falcons against a good Bucs team. As I said on the last episode, Kyle Pitts actually didn't have a bad game, and he had some clutch moments towards the end. Penix looked pretty solid. He was leading that team down the field. Bijan is still ridiculous. He had 100 yards receiving. Obviously, one of those was a 50-yarder. But I think the Falcons can keep this game out of reach for JJ McCarthy. I feel like if he's got to make a comeback again, the game will be too far out of reach. I think the Falcons might just have a little bit more quality than the Bears, which sounds weird to say because on paper, you'd probably think the Bears are a better team, but Falcons they impressed me last week. They were probably the best losing team, apart from the Browns, obviously.
Well, I got peer pressured into believing that Bijan wasn't worth taking at 1.01 in fantasy, and I was so right because he's so good. I knew he'd be unbelievable this year. I was so high on Bijan going into the season, and he started off in exactly the way I thought he would. But I just think with the Vikings, there's quality there. I think McCarthy now he realizes he actually has Justin Jefferson to throw to, which took him 3 quarters to realize in the last game. But now he's actually got it into his head that he has probably one of the best, if not the best, receivers in the league to throw the ball to. That it is actually going to be a good day for them, and I think they seem such a good unit, together unit, the Vikings, and I think that's why they're so hard to beat because there's not Barlett. Obviously, you've got certain players which are absolutely brilliant, but there's so much talent in this Vikings team. I do believe it. I think there's such a good group that I think they'll have just a bit too much. But I do like the Falcons, and I think they were much better than I expected them to be in week 1. But yeah, I'm going Vikings because, again, someone had to be different. But I genuinely do believe that my best mate, Aaron Jones, will have another great game.
I think it'll come down to a field goal.
I wouldn't be surprised, 100%.
Young Kweku gets the winner, makes up for his mistake last week. That's my prediction.
Next up, Texans versus the Bucks. And I believe for the second week in a row, we've gone for a clean sweep on the Buccaneers to go for another win. I mean, for me, it was pretty easy, this one.
This could be game of the week or the worst game of the week. I feel like it's going to go one way or the other. And I honestly can't tell which one. Because the Bucks are a good team, and you're stupid if you think otherwise. But they just have moments where you're like, what the fuck are they doing? Baker's always been a bit like that. He's a great player, but he just occasionally you're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm not talking about any legal matters there. Cheesecake Factory, I'll move on. The Texans, I don't hate the Texans. I was quite big on them in CJ's rookie year because I'm a big CJ Stroud fan. But it's looking like the sophomore slump might continue into year 3, and that scares me a lot. I don't know how much you can blame the offensive line. It's not a very good offensive line at all. But they had the chance to improve it, and they clearly haven't done it enough. So there's only so much blaming you can place on them, I guess. I don't know. I think the Bucks will edge it slightly.
I mean, what's your phrase that you used all season long about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Go back against Baker.
And I'm not going to.
Sweet Baker, bring him back, please.
I'm not going to. I can't. I just think the Bucks were really impressive in week 1 against, as you said, what was a good team that they faced. So the Texans, I said, they weren't awful, but 9 points in a loss where the other team only had 14. It's not exactly wow. So
that was an awful game as a spectator. I'm not gonna lie. It was still horrible.
The Bucks, for me, I think this should be a pretty okay game for them. So the Texans aren't bad. I just don't think there's enough there to win a game like this. And I know once you start for the Texans, genuinely puts them in a bit of bother with their division because, as I said, the Jags did start with a win. So it'd be intriguing to see what happens with the Texans in the coming weeks. But yeah, I'm going with the Bucks in this one. Finally, and again, he's not here to back his edgy, stupid predictions.
This game is on at 3 a.m. in England, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm not watching this game. So yeah.
3 a.m.
If Kean stays up, then fair play. I'm not fucking doing it.
Both of these games on Monday Night Football, the one that we just did in this one, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think the one we just did starts at midnight, so we get an hour earlier, which is nice. But then this starts at 3 a.m. and there's not a chance I'm staying up to watch a raw bumming, as I would imagine it will be, of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, he's not here to defend his stupid, edgy predictions, but I don't understand on what planet you see the Raiders winning this game. As I said, they weren't bad, and I did say if any of our teams were to have any form of success this year, it would be the Raiders, because on paper their team isn't actually awful, and Geno is a half-decent quarterback in this league. But the Chargers were just really, really good. Herbert was a joke, as I gassed him up for so many years, and it's always been if man and if this, if that. But it genuinely looks like it might be the year where they finally click into gear and this team looks good. I think Hampton, as much as the yardage wasn't impressive, he looked good. There was flashes. Again, you're playing against the Chiefs defense, which is always going to be difficult as your first ever game as a rookie. I don't think he looked out of place at all in that game. I just think the Chargers overall, the defense is brilliant. The offense is really, really good. When a defense is making Patrick Mahomes look a bit rubbish, it's a good defense. So I just really like the Chargers. I've said it for like so many years now. I just do quite like the Chargers. So I do tend to back them quite a lot, and I'm going to continue it here because I don't see a world where they lose this game.
I've always kind of liked the Chargers just because I think they have the nicest uniforms in the NFL, just in terms of like regular ones. Obviously, the best one is the creamsicle, the Tampa Bay creamsicle. It's beautiful. But yeah, the Raiders were good. Again, I think they were. They were barely on red zone, but I don't know why. But I don't know. I watched the highlights, and Gino was throwing like a madman. I don't know how that didn't make it on a red zone, but yeah, I think there was a Brock Bowers injury scare, but I think he's fine. So there should be okay in that front. Keane's really big on Michael Mayer. He definitely would have mentioned him if he was on this episode, I promise you. Genty, I've got him on my fantasy, so I hope he scores another touchdown. But I think the Chargers looked really, really good against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs ultimately are probably a better team than the Raiders. Therefore, Chargers win. Justin Herbert, I'm a big Justin Herbert guy as well. I think he's got it. Quentin Johnston as well. He had a weirdly good first game, so if he carries on that form with Lad McConkey in there as well, who knows what happened. Hampton as well. I probably expect a little bit of a better game from Hampton. I can't lie.
I did see a tweet, and it was like, I did find it quite funny. It was like, some guy's really happy knowing that somewhere in Brazil there'll be a group of people where they think Quentin Johnson is the best player in the NFL, and that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Gino did have 362 passing yards, in all fairness.
Yeah, he went off.
Only one touchdown. But Genty, I don't know, I just wasn't that impressed. 19 carries for 38 yards, albeit he did get a touchdown. For what he was gassed up to be, I don't think he looked any better, probably even worse than Hampton, genuinely. It was fairly similar, like not as good as I expected. But I did say they'll be a lot closer this year. People think Hampton and Genty.
I said in the mock draft when I picked Hampton, which I might have actually had him going to the Chargers. I can't remember.
Might probably would have done. Yeah, they needed a running back, so it would have made sense. I think
it was either Hampton or Loveland if he fell that far, because I really thought Loveland was going to reunite with Jim Harbaugh. But yeah, I think I said that these two are really close in skill level, and I think this will be the game where we might see who's the better one. I don't know. I won't be staying up to watch it. I'll be watching it the day after.
Yeah, same. But that is our predictions done for this week.
I can't believe that we've got to 1 hour and 7 with just us two.
I know. I thought we did do all the stuff from last week, from the week just gone as well. So with predictions, it would have only been about 45 minutes. But yeah, I mean, unless you have a question for us, Max, which I don't think you do this week.
I've got a question.
You have got a question, okay.
Who else thinks the Browns are going to go 16-1?
And on that note, we will call it a day.
Goodbye.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to end it there. Thank you very much to Max for joining me. Not to Kim, because he was, like doing stupid stuff like being employed. I get a job.
He thinks work is important. He thinks work's more than this podcast.
Load of rubbish, mate. But yes, thanks so much for joining me, and we will see you all next week for our review and predictions next week. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Go Browns!